Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, August 13th, and I'll call this North Liberty City Council meeting to order. Stacy, could we have roll call, please?
Leibel.
Here.
Park.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Wason.
Here. Thank you. Item 3 is approval of the agenda, and everything is going to be on the agenda, except I'm going to move item 13 up to item 9.5. I'm sorry, item 10.5. Other than that, everything is going to be the same. Could I have a motion for approval, please?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Smith, seconded by Wason. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item 4 is our consent agenda, and I don't think there's anything on there that I had to move around. Any questions about that? Could I have a motion for consideration, please?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Wason, seconded by Park. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5 is public comment. Now is the time for anyone in the audience that wishes to address council on an item that's not already on our agenda. Please do so. Everyone is sitting quietly out there. I will close our public comment section and move to item 6, which is our engineer's report. Josiah.
Thanks, Mayor. A couple updates on design phase projects going on right now. One is North Liberty Road Trail Project. We've had some discussion about this in the council here the last few months. We prepared a new trail design across the property there on North Liberty Road to avoid the property and easements. It does require adding curb and gutter to the street to move that trail in and keep that separation from the trail and the street, adding storm sewer. Some grading and things like that. So that can work. And then this afternoon, along with the mayor and Guy, we met with the property owners this afternoon on site to sort of inform them, show them design, go through the various aspects of that property. And I'm just kind of digesting now. They've got some comments and questions and feedback. So I've got a list of things to follow up on for them and our group to answer some questions about how that goes. But I just wanted to give you an update that is moving forward, and we're still trying to work out how that would happen. Community Center parking lot improvements, Phase 1. That project was recently approved by the council. Just a quick note that the survey and base mapping is completed. The design work is getting started for review set in September, and that's planned for bidding this December and construction next year. Same thing with Freedom Park Trail. That was also recently approved. Similarly, the survey mapping is done and the design has started for that one. That's also bidding this winter for construction next year. We've still got quite a few projects underway in construction. Centennial Park, obviously the big one. They're doing some grading work and doing a lot of shop drawings, review of details and materials, but foundation work will be starting shortly after the grading around the building gets rough graded. Fox Run Pond Trail improvements. All the new trail has been poured. There's going to be a new playground that Guy's crew are going to help put in and coordinate. The border around that is completed. So aside from that playground work, there's a bit of site cleanup, grading, and then seeding on that project to follow up this fall. The streets and maintenance facility building, the final walkthrough for a punch list is probably going to happen next week. So that's just about wrapping up. City staff has also walked through and has their own list of things, and the contractor is taking care of those. Forever Green Road signalization improvements is also underway. All the new traffic signal pole footings are in place. The contractor is working on grading the sidewalks at Kansas Avenue, and those sidewalks are going to be poured here shortly after that grading gets done. And then they're going to kind of flip their focus over to Jones Boulevard because there's a lot more utilities and things to work around there. So they're trying to get Kansas sort of up a bit, and then they're going to focus back on Jones. And just to note, these projects will impact the roadway a little bit, but that's still going to be a ways off this fall. West Penn Street, just to kind of wrap that up, the road is open. Seeding and matting has been done. There's still some minor erosion control things to be done, but they're within their final closeout period here. And then finally, I guess this is more of a study. We've got a Forever Green Road extension study that we're working on. This would be the extension of Forever Green Road from the roundabout there by North Central, going east over to the other roundabout that Corville built on First Avenue. This is a project from last year. I just wanted to provide an update that we do have a draft of that alignment and road and what that looks like. We met with Corville staff last month to go through that design, answer questions, and get their feedback. Because if you may recall, half the project is essentially in Corville, east of Naples Avenue, that gravel road, and then North Liberty's the other half. I'm meeting with North Liberty staff tomorrow to sort of do the North Liberty portion of that. We'll get that feedback and then resend it out again and then have a joint meeting with both cities, both staffs. And that's all I have, Mayor, unless there's questions.
That's all you have?
Yeah.
Are there any questions for Josiah? Yes, sir.
On the Forever Green Road, how
Yeah.
close is the kind of current plan to the corridor plan we established years and years ago?
On Forever Green Road. It's very close. Essentially, the purpose of the study was to take that and take it from a concept and find out, does it really work and what would it cost? Yeah. So we're making tweaks, based on things that have changed over the last 10, 12 years. Property owners and boundary lines, things like that.
But it's substantially
Yeah,
similar.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Anything else? Josiah, how much is left on the punch list for this building, for City Hall?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I know there's a number of things inside the building, mechanical, electrical, that are taking some time to work on.
Okay. Thank you. Item 7, the city administrator report. Does anyone have anything to report from Ryan? Okay. I got a text message from him before the meeting, driving the train.
Did he get to drive the train?
Yeah, he's putting his application in to be the engineer when he gets back.
All right, we'll fast track that for him.
Exactly. I don't really have anything to report other than I wanted to thank Councilor Wason for running those 2 meetings in July for me. They just, for whatever reason, were not scheduled well for my schedule. Paul, I wanted to thank you for speaking on behalf of the city at the groundbreaking ceremony, and for all of you that you've been going to meetings and being a part of representing the city over this past month. I have not been bored. As Josiah said, there have been a few meetings that have taken some time this month, so I won't bore you with any of those details. Item 9 are council reports. Just a way for you guys to report out on the things that you're doing on behalf of the city in your roles as council members.
Mayor, I'll start. I, too, had been out on a vacation, missed last meeting, so enjoyed time with family. I would say, and seeing the Parks Director in-house tonight, I have taken a number of, not just verbal comments, but some emails about how beautiful the parks and the landscaping look. And I know how much work goes into that. So please, Guy, take that back to your crews. They're working extremely hard. And our visitors are seeing that work. It's beautiful. And it's, we added a lot to 965 and the bike trails and the landscaping. And it's hard work and it goes, unsung a lot of the time. But I did get some comments over the last month or so how beautiful the city looks. So appreciate that.
Thanks, Brian. Anyone else?
I did attend National Night Out in Penn Meadows Park. It's a lot of fun, really well attended. Just a lot of kids running around having fun and painting the squad car and hopping in the fire truck and the ambulances. And just, I love those community events. And Penn Meadows proved to be a great place to have it too. And yeah. Other than that, like you said, stepped in for Quick Start. That was a lot of fun. It's a great business, and I still got some really good deals there as far as opening up. And yeah, I would just take the opportunity to promote the street dance coming up on Saturday, 5 p.m. right here on in between Reds and Heinz Ice Cream, and should be a lot of fun.
Great.
I'll just take this opportunity to say congratulations to Paul and Emily Park, who are new homeowners in North Liberty. And as such, again, just extend a welcome to all the new residents in North Liberty. It's really exciting time to be in the community, representing the community, and to those that are new, just wanted to say welcome, because there's a number of folks. I can think of 3 just within my neighborhood. So welcome to everybody.
Anything? All right, thanks, sir. Drew, I'm hoping that you can help us with item 10 then, which is our sewer ordinance. And item A, if anyone wishes to jump into this, is public hearing. I'll open the public hearing right now for anyone's consideration.
Not you.
And seeing that no one wants to talk about the sewer ordinance, I'm going to close the public hearing. Stay right there, Drew. Item B then is our first consideration of ordinance number 2024-07. And this is an ordinance amending Chapter 97 of the North Liberty Code of Ordinances concerning prohibited discharge into public sewers. Drew, what are we doing?
So
Actually, I'm sorry. Can I get a motion for consideration first?
So moved.
Moved by Smith,
Second.
second by Wason. Any questions? Thank you, Drew. I won't interrupt you again.
So we recently updated the fog ordinance, and in doing so, gave me an opportunity to review the whole sewer ordinance and discuss it with peers in the industry. And simply put, this is just bringing this more in line with our neighboring communities. And as you can see, these numbers and everything that's crossed out on here, it's more or less just raising limits and taking some away. Not necessarily imposing more restrictions on these ordinances. So if you have questions, I'm happy to indulge further.
My only questions are about, what it looks like to the businesses, consumers, what will we see on the other end, or is it something that they really have
No,
any
it's raised limits
interaction?
for them.
Okay.
As far as standards, it's less stringent, simply put, for them.
You guys have any questions for Drew?
Nope, some of it just seemed technical changes of stuff.
Yes.
That's all we had. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stacy, could we have roll call, please?
Wason,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Park,
Aye.
Leibold.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 10 and a half, we're going to jump up to the Penn Meadows Park Baseball Court. And item A is discussion and possible action to approve the construction of a basketball court in Penn Meadows Park. Do know we need a voice vote on this, so granted, it probably would be helpful to put this into consideration before the voice vote.
I would let Guy go ahead and make a pitch, and then you can have a motion directing us to take action on said pitch with all in favor and so on at the end would be
Sounds
my
good.
recommendation.
I can do that. Over to you, Guy.
All right, good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm happy to be here tonight. So I'm sure you've read Ryan's little note that he had on the basketball court. So it's something we've been thinking about doing for quite a number of years now, putting in an outdoor basketball court. But we recently received a well-marked three-point play grant for $19,000. So it fit all the requirements for the grant. So that's what we're really shooting for, to use that grant money for. We've always thought about the old playground area at Penn Meadows Park where the old Bigfoot slide is. I had a lot of sentimental value of that playground because it was the very first playground I put in 27 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
And so we've held on to it as long as I could, but it was time to let it come down, and we're going to make room for the new basketball court if you choose to do so. I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
I think all of our questions really are about funding, and I think that's pretty well addressed in the note from my point of view. Do you guys have any questions for Guy?
So, and it's full size.
Yes, it's going to be 94 feet by 50 feet. We got Mega Slam hoops coming. They're very, very nice outdoor hoops. They're already here. And if it gets approved, we're going to take right off, and it's going to start work very, very soon if it's approved.
Is that a concrete pad?
Yes, concrete. Yep.
Is that a double rim?
Let's say again.
Is it a double rim?
It's one that swivels. It's glass. You can hang on it, or you can twist it side to side. So it's very durable.
Yeah.
I know where we're going to find you, it sounds like, hanging off the rim, testing that thing
I'll
out.
be shooting on it for sure, but
Yeah.
not hanging on it.
What's the plan for lights, Guy?
So that's a very good question. We have talked about lights. We're going to play it out and see where it goes from here, not having them, because the park does close at 10, and we're not so certain we'd want that bang, bang, bang of dribbling a basketball late at night. So for discussion in the future, maybe. They do make the solar lighting. It's a kit that can come with the hoops that kind of cantilever over the basketball hoops. It's a solar powered lighting. I don't know. I don't know if we should go there or not yet. So,
And you probably know, for me, that's a twofold question, because if your answer was we're going to put lights in, then to me, with the infrastructure that goes in there would tie nicely with putting lights at Skelly Park.
that's true.
Yeah,
Very true.
So, over time, but seeing that that's not part of this plan, that'll be something for down the road.
Yep, it's a conversation that we're going to have to talk over and see if it's the right fit. I might take it to the Parks and Rec Board at some point just to get their opinion and recommendation on that. Another feature that we're I'd like to put in with this, 4 bench pads. I have the benches already purchased. They would go in immediately as soon as the court is done for seating for people who'd want to view basketball. I forgot one other aspect. There's going to be a 70-foot trail that goes from the basketball court to the north-south trail right there on the west side of the park. So that'd be a nice tie-in, so there'd be, good accessibility. So we thought about that also, getting accessibility to it with a trail.
Awesome.
And can you clarify? I know there was some questions when the old park came out, and that was old equipment. That was a safety issue.
It was becoming a safety issue because I could no longer get parts for it. So it had been planned to be taken down back in 2011 when we put the new playground in at Penn Meadows Park on the north side. That was the goal all along. Like I said, I had a lot of sentimental value with it, and we kept it for as long as we could. But it was getting to the point where it was going to be unsafe. The plastic slide on it had cracked in a couple places, and we had to basically weld those to get it by, but those components are no longer available. So it served its purpose. It was a good piece of equipment. My very first experience putting it in playgrounds. So,
Any other questions for Guy? Okay, so we need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Park and seconded by Wason. Any other discussion or questions? All right, I just need a roll. I just need a voice vote. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Guy, thanks for your time.
yep. Thank
Enjoy
you very
dinner.
much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for getting that grant. That was great.
Well, it wasn't me.
Take credit.
Yeah, take credit, man. Enjoy dinner. Yep. Okay, back to item number 11. And item A is going to be a discussion regarding social service grant applications. And yes, and that. So for Brian and Paul down there in the end, this is going to be kind of new to you entirely. To Brent and Brian here, it's just going to be a modification as to what we've done in the past. So for those in the audience, in the past, our social service groups have come and presented to us a couple of minutes. It's been wonderful to see them. It turned into a really long night for those organizations and also for our council. So we had the same applications that were submitted. It was the same format. Those were distributed to our council about a month ago, and over that time, they've had an opportunity to score them, make comments, and make their recommendations to themselves on what those dollar amount allocations should be. In our council packet tonight was the average that was of all of us in those allocations. And now we'll work through a conversation as a group to talk about those allocations. And in this process, I've created a spreadsheet here that I'll keep track of them as we go along here as well. Tracy's normally done that, and I told Stacy I wouldn't put her through that tonight.
Thank you.
Sitting in on this. So I thought it might be best, and I really like the scores that Angie wanted us to accumulate, and it really helped me to prioritize where my money, putting it where my mouth is in there. So I wanted to start there as a group. If we could talk about those items that scored in the 90s or above, We have dollar amount allocations that are similar to the average, or I do, excuse me, to the averages on 5 of them, and we have one consensus, and that's the shelter. Everyone thought a $10,000 allocation was good on that one. So I've already filled that $10,000 into the spreadsheet, but we'll build off of that going forward. So I know that you all have some notes and some thoughts on how we'll move through this, so I thought it would be helpful for us to talk about those items that scored well first, and work through maybe what we think would be some good allocations, and then we'll move to those on the opposite end of the spectrum with it. And I will say finally that there are going to be a couple of trains of thought here in that everyone that presented an application, you may feel obligated to provide something to them. I take the approach that if something is duplicating another service or not something that we really need or there's a need for, I'm okay giving zeros and making that decision as well. So there are a handful of organizations that don't think we needed to make an allocation to. So don't feel like you have to allocate money to every application. So we'll talk about that as well. So if you don't mind, I'll just kind of kick this off.
Mr. Mayor,
yeah,
just
please.
one clarifying question from here, because I've got what I assume the spreadsheet is the averages of every score and then the average of the dollar amount. So budgeted amount 170, that total that averaged out is 168 and change. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Because then I have my scores here as well.
Yep.
So, okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. So I guess starting from the top, the left, however you want to look at it, Big Brothers and Big Sisters, we all thought it was a worthwhile organization. It scored 91 out of 100 on there. Their request was 13,672. The average was 10,407. My recommendation was to get us to about 13,000 or close to what it was. I don't believe this was more than what they've asked for in the past. So any thoughts on that?
Just as an understanding, I believe it is more than what they asked for. If I'm looking at the form correctly, right, the 25 fiscal year.
My apologies, it is,
Yeah,
yes.
25
That's right.
year request was 13,672. In the past, the last 2 years, we've done 8.
Yep, my apologies, you're right. So let's work, tell me what you guys are thinking on this one from an allocation standpoint.
Mayor, as you know, in years past, as we go through, we follow your lead. We work through. I never hesitate to bring up when I have a few marked as priority fund for me, making sure that they get what I believe the request or what I believe. So that's kind of for you too, that you'll hear me say this is a priority fund for me, and that's just me documenting that this is a priority for me. So yeah, Mayor, I think with just a starting point, I had down 10,000 for this request.
Do you want to go through and just tell us the groups that you had priority funding for? Not necessarily the numbers, but if you want to, we can just kind of make sure we're aware of them.
Yeah, so really 3 priorities, horizons, houses into homes, and then the pantry were my 3 priorities this year.
Thank you.
Just.
All right, so you recommended.
Like that from everyone, Mayor?
If you feel comfortable doing it, that's why I know that's what Councilor Smith has done in the past. How did everybody else score Big Brothers and Big Sisters? Brent said 10,000 was his recommendation.
That was mine as well.
Okay.
I had 8, just because I was looking at a few different opportunities, and based on previous year. The one that's not listed here, I talked with Ryan a little bit about it. I don't know if this is the right time to introduce that, but I think there's an opportunity with some of the senior citizens that we have, in addition to working with both Clear Creek and Liberty High School. And so I had set aside or earmarked $5,000 of the 170 for a special project, if you will. So for me, I put them at 8 from repeat the last couple of years.
Okay, gotcha. And to address that comment as well, I'd rather not consider special funding for this because we didn't officially have an application for it, just so that you were aware. So, Paul, how did you allocate for Big Brothers and Big Sisters?
Big Brothers and Big Sisters was an important one to me. It's proven to be effective, and I haven't pulled up my particular scoring sheet yet, but I think I had it a little closer to their ask.
To their ask, okay. So a couple of 13-ish and two 10-ish and an 8. So it seems like 10's probably in the middle range there.
Yeah, I'm supportive of 10. Like I said, I had.
I'll make that, I'll just make that note for now. I'm going to move down to community crisis services. They were one that scored well for us as well, and they asked for 15 based on last year's 12,000 allocation. I gave them the full amount, and you'll see why. There are a number of groups that I didn't allocate any monies towards, so I gave them that full ask at 15. How about you guys?
So I made sure I did something for everyone.
Okay.
Because I felt everybody had at least something to offer.
Okay.
So, but I put them at 13,000 because I think, a lot of their work of helping people out of the short-term things is pretty important. So.
Okay.
That was in my range, Mayor, 10 to 15. I had a range on them, so that's in my range.
Okay.
Me as well.
Yeah, I scored them very high as well. I had 12 listed.
Okay. So it sounds like 13, 14 might be a number we're okay with. Should we just pencil in 13 right now?
13.5, and then we'll split the
13.5. Okay, you got it. Next, DVIP. They scored well also, and they were asking for 14, which is a big jump from last year. And I think if you read their application, their funding sources have changed pretty dramatically. I didn't give them the full ask. I got, and it's a rounding number, I got them to 10.8 for mine. So it's close to what the average was, 95.50.
Yeah, and historically we've been very supportive, and will continue to be very supportive of DVIP in capital campaigns and other things as well. So I was in that 7,000 to 8,000 range, Mayor.
Okay.
So I was at 8,500, just because it was more, and they've a lot of stuff's been going on. And again, anybody that city staff can utilize their services to help do their job as well as the people I like to prioritize. And the PD, I think, uses these folks a lot. So
Yeah.
Mayor, I had them scored just as high as community crisis, just not the same amount of funds allotted. And that's just back to the distribution throughout all of them.
Okay.
So for me, I had them at 65 just from a repeat from the year prior, for that reason only.
Okay. Paul?
I had it at 10, which was just quite an increase.
Yep.
But it wasn't the full ask.
Yeah. I think the average, I can see the average now at 95.50 was the average of all of our allocations in there. Let me just put that dollar amount in as a placeholder, 95.50, unless you want to move it to a different number. Okay.
No, if I understand the process correctly, we'll circle back after we get
Yep.
numbers in for all of them, and then
Yep.
we can tweak and adjust them there, correct?
Yep, exactly. All right, item, let's see, Girls on the Run. This is one of my priorities, Counselor Smith as well. Both of my girls did this program. I like this because they don't really ask for more than they have a lot in the past. So 3,200 was my number.
yeah, mine as well.
Same.
Me too.
Okay.
Scored high, just it was a 3,000 just from
Okay.
probably just a distribution, but I'm supportive.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the name is not exactly reflective of as much of the work that they really do.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Well put. All right. Horizons scored well for us, and their request was the same as last year at 10. So I scored it at 10 as well, as a $10,000 allocation.
Yeah, and it rose to a priority fund, and typically does for me, just because I'm always appreciative of the back end report. That they do. They really show and prove where the money goes, specifically for North Liberty residents, and how they utilize the funding. So, yeah,
You agree with the 10,000?
I do.
Okay.
That's where I was.
I agree.
Okay. Well, we'll just put that in then. We were pretty close. We'll come back to houses as into homes in a second, Brent. Let's move down to the Housing Trust Fund of Johnson County. I'm sorry, no, we'll come back to that one. My apologies. The food pantry, the 20th one, scored a 96, high on everybody's radar right here. For me, I think the only reason that I didn't give them the full allocation is that we're going to be doing a lot of work with them, some other things, but I got them to 28,000. So I gave them a pretty large dose of what they had requested.
Same scoring system for me, Mayor. I scored them very high, but I just used the 25 because of the additional funds that are coming in 2025. So
Okay.
I was at 25 for them with a very high score.
Okay.
And same as the other Brian.
Okay. Paul or Brent, any deviation from that?
I believe I gave him the full.
You gave him 30, okay. Brent, how do you feel?
Yeah, again, priority fund for me, but certainly understand and anticipated this conversation of the capital campaign that we'll be partnering with. I would like to see the full amount, but certainly am open to that reduction to meet the consensus.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to put in 28,000 since that was our average. We'll come back to this. The last one in the 90s category was table to table, a relatively small request it's a little bit more than last year's. Again, this is kind of a priority for me, so I gave them the full 9,000 ask on my side here.
So I did as well, just because what they're doing and how they're doing it is actually becoming very well run, and there's a lot of opportunity, and they're really working with a lot of other groups in the area to make sure that we're not wasting things that can be helpful for people.
Yeah, and I'm finding that this is happening all over the country too. This is a great model.
I scored it high, and actually, I just seeing my notes again, this was a priority fund for me as well, with the other three listed earlier. So I had them at 9,000, and again, I've heard comments from a number of residents that are utilizing pantry that are really enjoying the fresh fruit and the fresh food that comes from that with the partnerships, and they do a great job of logistics and distribution in their network. So.
Okay.
I think you're going to sense a common theme with me here, Mayor. That it's just the spreading it out and having set aside that 5 that I had thought about, scored very high. So I had listed them, I think, at 7,500. But I'm supportive of the initiative and moving that number off 7,500.
Okay.
I had him at 9. Just
Okay.
Proven, to be effective, and
Yep, absolutely.
definitely
Okay.
take care of North Libertarians.
I got North Liberty in there. All right, we'll go back to the top and we'll address those groups that scored in the 80s. I guess I slipped Girls on the Run in there. Oh, it's because it was such a small amount. Sorry about that. Okay, now the Housing Trust Fund of Johnson County. They had a $25,000 request on top of 20,000 requests last year. They've got some of our money right now that we're trying to get allocated from ARPA, but I still gave them 22,000 in this.
I was at 20, and understanding that some leverage with some other projects for affordable housing has not come through as we anticipated. I would like to see that this one stay a little higher.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think that was their fault, though.
No, it was not.
Okay.
I also had it at 20.
The
I
20,
had it
okay.
at 20 as well.
Okay.
As did I.
All right. 20 it is then. Iowa Legal Aid scored an 80. They had a $6,000 request on it's $1,000 more than last year. So this is one I just gave the full amount of their request in my scoring.
I had them at the $5,000 that we used last year. So,
Okay.
So, I think there's a lot of things that it's hard for them to kind of show us what they're doing because a lot of that stuff is kind of.
It is hard. Yeah. Would your score have been higher had they been able to show some?
No, I had to, once I went through things, I just, something.
You had to whittle away somewhere.
Whittle away somewhere, so.
I would agree with that. I found it difficult. They showed the 88 North River residents, but their projections seemed to be fairly inflated, and I just couldn't get over that. There really wasn't proof to the inflation number of 230 future, so I kept them at their original 5.
Okay.
I had them not scored as high as the first. They were in that tier 2, but I had them at that 5.
Okay.
Mayor.
I had them a little lower than that, just because I was spreading it out.
Okay.
amongst Other priorities.
How about I put a place marker of 5,000 in there for us?
I think that's fair. Come back. We've got a
Okay. Paul, you okay
round of
with
discussion.
Fine.
that? Okay. We took care of Shelter House, and then United Action for Youth. I gave them
What
their
number
full.
is that, Mayor?
I'm sorry, it's the last one.
Okay, thank
On
you.
number 25. I gave them their full amount request, and this is a group that serves a lot of partnerships at the library for us, and they're also asking for less money than last year, I think due in part because of these partnerships that they now have. So 5 was my number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I scored them in the high 70s and had 5 as well.
Okay.
Likewise.
Okay, we'll leave it at 5 then. Okay, we'll work our way into the 70s and starting at the top with 4Cs. We had a close consensus on allocation, even though it might not have scored that high. It didn't score high, thus we all kind of wanted to give them less money. I had allocated 5,000. The average turned out to be 45.83. Does anybody have any compelling reason to make it much different than that?
Yeah, I had 5,000.
I had 5, so I'm fine with the average.
Okay. How about I just put it in at 5 right now?
Sounds good.
Paul, Brent, you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Houses into homes didn't score well, but I gave them the allocation that they had requested at 10. Brent, I know this is a priority for you.
It is, and I'll give the same pitch I give every year. I've worked with this group. It's not just the services they're providing to folks in the area, but it's also the opportunities that they are creating for Clear Creek Havana High School students, Liberty High School students, West regional high schools to come in, learn about service, serving others before self, and just seeing the groups grow in that way. There's really a dual purpose in what they do, and that's why they are a priority for me.
Gotcha. I think you're partly why I gave them all the money they asked for.
Yeah, I'm very supportive of their. I just, again, back to the methodology that I used. I used the 7,000, but I'm supportive of and they scored in the very high 70s for me.
Okay.
They also scored high for me. I know Kelowna does a similar program, and just everything that it does, I think, is beneficial. So that was a key one for me.
Okay. How much would you allocate for? How much would you allocate?
I think I had 9 on here. I would be happy with 10.
Okay. 10 sounds all right to you guys?
Yep.
Okay. Housing Fellowship. They had requested 25,000. I actually didn't allocate anything to them. I thought this was duplicative.
See, now I read that differently.
Okay.
And I scored that low 80s. And back to Brent's point on the youth involvement and the volunteer and the skill building, the Housing Fellowship, I didn't award them the full 25, but I thought first year, get them off the ground, I said 12.5 was mine. I was impressed with their application and the purpose behind it.
So I was very minimal as well, just because there was no guarantee that they were going to build a unit in North Liberty, and then the cost per unit, which would be person served, would be very high
That's right.
and stuff. So, and it really was going into buying down a little bit of the principle of a house. So, the program will continue on one way or the other. It was just a matter of that, and so I felt that it was not something I was really wanting to do too much with.
Did you do anything with it, or did you?
I gave it $22.50,
Okay.
just because that would maybe get little bit off the interest rate or something. But
So I was in the middle of all of this. I was with Brian. I see the reach. I see the opportunities it's going to create to give back and build. But I too had concern and actually made a note. Don't know if this is something possible. It would be something that Grant would be involved in, is if we could enter into a contract with them where if monies fall short and the project doesn't go, that we would be able to retrieve our funding back. So I think that gets messy with that. So I didn't have them very high.
What did you allocate?
Me?
0?
I had a range of 5,000 to 6,000,
Okay.
dependent on other funds.
Okay. And could you repeat what yours was? Was it 2,200? 22,000.
No, 2,000.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And Brian, yours was
I
about
had
12,000, 12,500? Okay.
That's half of their ask.
Okay. Paul?
I actually misspoke earlier. The one that is happening down in Kelowna, that actually is
Is this? Okay.
student build.
Okay.
And I think it's great. The one thing, is that house going to be in North Liberty? That was the only thing I was kind of considering, when those funds get spent, are they going into North Liberty? But as far as the mission, I'm all for it. I think it's great to get kids in there and helping to build something. And so I actually allocated them their full, I'm sorry. Yeah, I did. Their full ask.
Really?
So I'm on the.
So
We got a range.
We've got a range. We might
So
want to
my
put a
understanding, though,
placeholder. Yeah.
is they're going to do this, and all this money was for the principle of the building. And not really, the project is going to happen when there's not like.
It's not. It's
There's
not,
not
a,
like they're
it's
not-
not a linchpin. It's a,
Yeah, it was just
okay.
one where they were just trying to defray a cost of it. And again, if it's not in North Liberty, I don't think we should be funding it.
Those are valid points.
Agreed.
Mayor, just out of curiosity, what do you have averaging all of this out to this point?
Oh, the average worked. I mean, you guys all said what you gave, and the average is 8,300.
83
for that. So, but it ranges from 0, me, to 25,000.
to 25. Yeah.
Paul. So, but I think to Brian's point, I think if we give anything to the program, it should be a much, much smaller amount because of, I think your points are well taken with me, where it's located and how much it will do to actually support programming. So
That's fair.
If I may
Please.
add, one thing that came to light in recent years is the state auditor is pretty particular about how we handle social service grants like this. And so we've begun and continue the process of having individual contracts with each entity that we give access to. And so part of that is just say what you're going to use the money for and then provide accounting for having done so. And that's pretty, tell us what you're going to do and then show us later that you've done it, and that's great. Another portion of that is a finding that there's going to be a benefit to the city of North Liberty, its residents, the surrounding community, and so on. And so that should be something that you factor into your decision making here. A house being built near here might or might not, in your estimation, have the same one as one that's built here, one that's built in Davenport, for example. That's something that is appropriate for you to consider as representing the residents and citizens of North Liberty. That'll have to go into a contract when we go.
thank you.
Sure.
I guess maybe talk me out of 0 is the.
So I can't talk you out of, is there,
I
unless they were going to build a building in North Liberty. And I don't know that we can know that.
I would agree with that, Mayor.
I believe that North Liberty funds should be spent in North Liberty.
Okay.
I don't disagree. I don't
Okay.
disagree. And so that's the point of these discussions, is to have that conversation.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to interject here too much, but we can make an argument that helping, a rising tide raises all boats, and so it's not an impossible thing to write in there. I just wanted to make sure that I'm going to have to come up with a reasoning for it, and so I would love. I would want to have it made clear to me while we're doing this so that I could understand what I put in the contracts.
Yeah, and it might be a moot point here in
Understood.
just a moment. So, and we also keep in mind we have 10 more of these to go through, and we have about $30,000 left. So, if it's okay, can I zero this one out for a placeholder?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Senior Center had asked for 10,879, and that was on top of, it's a good leap from last year. What I had a hard time with on this one was knowing how much really more they would bring, but I still gave them a good score and a good funding amount. So I probably came in high on this one, but I came in at 9,500 of their request.
I'm scored them in the low 70s. So looking at their historical, I thought the ask was, increased. So I scored I gave them a 7,500.
Which is what I did as well.
That was the same amount for me, Mayor.
Okay. Paul, I think we've been outvoted. I'm going to just put in 7,500 for now, if that's okay. I saw you nodding and rocking down there. So, okay. Iowa City Sober Living. This is a relatively new group, and she's not asking for anything more than what she's gotten from us in the last few years. So I gave her the full 1,500.
Agreed. I've heard her story. She was here before with a zero ask. She asked of us and the mayor, what she could do better, and then improved what she was doing. It's unique. It's a small ask, so I'm good with it.
Yep.
Okay.
I did the full amount. Yes.
Okay, small dollar amount. Free medical clinic. Sorry, Paul.
No, me too.
Jumping over that one. Okay, free medical clinic. They had a request of 11,700, which is double their request from last year. Although they do serve quite a bit of our community as a percentage of their total. I'm okay giving them a pretty good chunk of their request. I bumped this up to 10,000 this year.
So, and I did as well, just because I know that I have been discharging people to the free medical clinic as their primary care providers because they don't have anybody else. We've been doing that more this year, so.
Okay.
The only issue I had here in there, I remember this from last year too. I've been supportive, just at a lower amount. That 5,000, 6,000 amount was they struggled to show how many North Liberty residents they've helped in previous years. Now they have estimates of what they believe they'll help North Liberty in the future, but they just haven't been sound in reporting those numbers back of what they've helped. I do know they are helping North Liberty residents. I would just like to, a note for them for next year. I really want to see them improve and really gain those numbers. I think that's fairly easy to do, to ask when they're doing their care, where they're residing, and report those out to us. So I had them at 5,000 and asking them to better their report out for North Liberty.
Thank you.
I scored them higher than the average at 74. The average is 70, but I allotted 6 on their ask of nearly 12. So increase from last year, but not as much as the full ask. So
Okay.
I also didn't, I guess wasn't sold on how much, wasn't clear on how much it helps North Liberty residents. So mine was a little lower. Would I be flexible to what the rest of the group?
Just what number did you have in your reporting? I know that you're kind of you're flexible
No.
right now.
I think I had 0.
Oh, okay. That would explain the average. Brian, are you okay if we get closer to the scoring average of 6,600, 6,500?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to just place 65 in there. Placeholder. I will leap. I've had a tough time with this one over the years, and I think what I've had a tough time with is kind of similar to what you had with the free medical clinic, except these, I just don't know how this fits specifically into other services and programs that can be provided. It was very specific about tutoring kids in there. I don't know how many kids are actually being served and how many would be served. So this is one I actually didn't allocate any funding to.
Yeah, I scored them lower 70s, and it compared to the average, it's right in with the average. But I agree with your thoughts there. I had put that 1,500 that they asked for because of the importance of the program, but proving out the impact is difficult.
Yeah.
I had 1,000.
So they indirectly told you how many people because this is what the calculator is, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so how many calculators they wanted to buy, that was how I took it out. So I had it at more 1,800 because math skills are going to be important.
Yeah, that, and I've tried to tutor my kids on math, and it's
Hard
not
job.
Get you one of those calculators. Brent, any thoughts on this one?
It's the same. I was at 1,500, and they need to show.
Okay. I'll put in 1,500 for right now on that one then. That leaves us with a few here. Safe families for children. My notes were that it seemed like a worthwhile cause, but I didn't read about local successes for a program yet. Maybe it's just starting, but I didn't read that if it was in there or not. And I think I'll just pass on this for right now. Those were my notes that I had typed out. So I allocated 0 to this one as well.
For me, I scored it in that lower 70s, and looking at the average, it was just below the average of everybody else. It looks like historically there's not been any awarded amount, so I started with the 3,500 sounds like they're just getting started.
Okay. Give them the benefit of the doubt.
I had 1,500.
1,500 from Brian.
I had 0 just due to allocations to other priorities.
Same.
Which one are we on? I apologize.
Safe family.
20.
Oh,
Would you mind reading the numbers
Yeah.
of the group too?
So this is, number 20. Safe families for children.
I also had a 0 on that one.
You had a 0 in there. Okay. Well, that's 3 of us with a 0. I think if you throw out Leibold's 3,500, we probably come in close to 0 or 1,000.
And why don't we try 1,000 and see what they do?
Okay.
I mean, it looked like they had some ideas of things that were important, so.
Okay. All right, back to the top families was the Safe Families for Children.
That's the one we just did.
I'm sorry?
We just did 20.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we did this one already, didn't we? I'm trying to look at between DVIP and... Yeah, they had requested 3,500. Am I in the right one?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't allocate any money for this one. I couldn't see this one.
which one are you in, Mayor? I'm sorry.
Number 20.
Number 20, Safe Families for Children. No.
That's the one we just did.
That's what we just did. Apologize here. Hold on one second. Oh, it was the Families Helping Families of Iowa. They requested 3,763. My notes for that one,
What number is that?
it's number
6.
6.
Okay.
My notes were that I had a hard time finding the real benefit to North Liberty. The reporting was using a number that said 144 kids in our community, but that was in the entire Johnson County. I don't know how many kids are actually in foster care here in North Liberty. It's really difficult to identify what and how these dollars would have been used in our local community. So I think that was my biggest reason for not allocating.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I scored them in the mid 60s. That said, because of the no real history and just allocating based on some of the other stuff, I did say 3, but can get behind your thought process as well.
You're going to be our outlier on a few things, aren't you? It's okay.
Good thing. I was 0 for other priorities.
I did too.
So Actually, it funded them some, but it was pretty low on my.
Okay, low on the priorities. I'm just gonna just put 0 in there for right now because we're at 156,000 with a couple more to go, and they don't score well on my sheets, the remaining ones. So we definitely have some negotiation here. Number 12 was Immigrant Welcome Network of Johnson County. The note that I had in here is that this was, it didn't seem to have experience or knowledge yet of, I don't have any experience knowledge of the Iowa City location specifically in the application and how many people it would serve here in our community. I actually didn't allocate any dollars to this one either.
I'm the same, Mayor.
Me too.
Number 12. Yeah, they were scored lower. The ask was considerable, and I had the same thought process that the rest of you had. So I had 0 allotted here, in part to support others as well. So.
Yeah.
My concern was it was basically to help rent the place, and I mean, what do we do next year? And
Yeah. All right, 0 on that one. Number 17 is Iowa Matrix. And if I had the notes correct on this one, was this the Thanksgiving meal?
Yeah.
Okay, I had a tough time connecting the dots on that one and how, again, this wouldn't be duplicative.
I've found the application to be incomplete as well, so.
Yeah.
They didn't score as well for me, 17 compared to, I scored them just a hair higher than the average. I did, just looking historically, I put 1,500 because I believe in there it said the specific ask was for 1,500 to impact X amount of families. But to your point, duplicative of other efforts, I can be convinced otherwise.
Okay.
I gave them their ask just for I saw that we had in the past and thought that was a.
Yeah, and their ask in the past was for a different program, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
The 2,000 was? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't this. Did I get your number?
So I actually funded it just because it was for a specific thing.
Okay.
But again, there is other people doing a similar project, and I'm not particularly wedded to this one.
Okay. I'm going to just leave that at a 0 for right now as well. Looks like number 23 is Trail of Johnson County. My only notes that I had on this one is that I didn't see this was being unique, and seniors have other access to these services already, so a bit duplicative as well. I didn't allocate any money to this one.
This scored for me just below what the overall average was, but I did did allot half of the ask, so 4,000.
I did 2,000.
So I had 1,500. It was I had a hard time trying to exactly figure out what I knew what they were going to do. I'm just not sure what the money was going to help them do, how they were going to do it. With
Mm-hmm. Mayor, this is an area that I believe in. I think our seniors need additional programming. This is one. Didn't really hit top marks for me. I had them at 0, but I could certainly come up with a consensus.
Okay. I'm going to slide them. I'll slide them in at that 2,000. That was our average right now. And then the last one was that we haven't discussed was one of the
Number
first
3.
ones. Number 3. My notes were I just had a hard time understanding how many households would be impacted in North Liberty. and I don't know how this program wouldn't be held, or I don't think this program could be held in North Liberty specifically. That residents would still need to go to Iowa City. Again, I didn't allocate money to this one.
Well, and somewhat to Grant's point, it doesn't say North Liberty, it says Eastern Iowa. At some point, that would be harder to kind of justify. So I understand what they were doing, and I thought the idea was good, but I just don't see that it's specifically here.
Yeah, this scored for me about in line with what the average was. I was actually lower than the average of 58. I did not have any dollars committed here, just for the reasons mentioned.
Same.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we've gotten through all of the groups. Of the 170,000 that we have available, we've committed 158,250 to this. How to go about this? I think the groups that maybe didn't have any allocation, if we want to start there and ask if we want to address any dollar amounts we can, there are 5 of them that we didn't allocate dollars to. We just talked about the Centers for Work and Justice. The number 6, Families Helping Families. We didn't allocate any monies to those. The Housing Fellowship one, it was a big ask that they had. We allocated 0 to that one. And number 12, the Immigrant Welcome Network of Johnson County, we didn't allocate money to that one. And then also Matrix, we didn't allocate any money to that. Does anybody have any? We have others that we didn't fund as much as maybe they have requested, so we still have those coming up yet in our discussion. Does anybody have any thoughts or changes on those that we didn't allocate any monies to yet before we move up?
I'm trying to put a couple of thought process things together for me here, Mayor. Can you let us know what the averages were, or what you've got on your sheet there, 1 through 24?
Sure.
Thank you.
For 4Cs, I've got 5,000. Big Brothers and Big Sisters, 10,000. Centers for Work and Justice, 0. Community, 13,500. DVIP, 9,550. Families, 0. Girls on the Run, 3,200. Horizons, 10,000. Houses into Homes, 10,000. Housing Fellowship, 0. Housing Trust Fund of Johnson County, 20,000. The Immigrant Network Item 12, 0. Senior Center, 7,500. Sober Living, 1,500. Free Medical Clinic, 6,500. Legal, 5,000. Iowa Legal Aid. The Matrix, 0. LEAP, 1,500. NL Food Pantry, 28,000. Safe Families for Children was 0. No, wait, excuse me, 1,000. Shelter, the emergency shelter, was $10,000. Table to Table, 9,000. Trail, 2,000, and United Action for Youth, 5,000.
Thank you. It helps
You're
me get
welcome.
an understanding of
Yeah,
the
I
overall
understand.
picture.
So, Mayor, with the zeros, I guess 2 comments. We, in the past, and even with this, we don't have a upfront vetting. All applications come through. They all are read and seen by council. And I think we have an obligation like we've done tonight. I feel comfortable in vetting those to the point of where monies are being spent, either inside North Liberty or outside. I think we've done a good job with that. So I'm comfortable where the zeros are, and I think we go back to those priorities that maybe didn't get full funds, or go from there. I too believe that it's not everybody needs at least $1 coming out of here. I think we've vetted those that are getting 0, in my opinion.
So, and I think it's also important to recognize that there's a lot of people who are working really hard to do things, and we can't fund everybody, but just because we're choosing not to fund them does not mean that their program in any way is not a good idea.
Agreed.
It's just not a good idea for us right now.
With the funds that we have,
So-
yeah.
Good point.
I think the general theme was, the money should stay in our community. I do with the student build. if it's not going to be in our community, I do think that that's a great, cause. But I completely understand, not knowing if it's going to benefit North Liberty or not. So I'm comfortable also with the ones that we didn't allocate any funds to.
Okay.
That would mean then we'd have, what, if I understand, you said 158 and we got 170, so 12 left to,
Yep. 11,750 to be exact.
Mayor, I guess I would ask the other counselors that coming into tonight, your priorities, were any of your priority funds or those that you had rated high, underfunded, or didn't get their full ask, and maybe start there. I feel comfortable with my list. What about others?
I would go up on the free medical clinic.
That's the
Would be
one I would,
That was the one that I felt the most strongly about.
yeah, me too.
what number is that?
Free medical clinic,
15?
number 15.
I would as well.
Okay.
I obviously allocated a lot of funds towards that student build, and
Okay.
Their ask was 11.7 and we're at 65.
Where were you at, Brian?
Well, I was at 10, but maybe like 7,500. We can.
I was kind of open to go to 10 also.
I'll go to 10.
Yeah, I agree. And I echo the comments up here. It's sometimes it's not a no, it's a not now. Assistance with the application, the impact into the community or the community members.
Yeah.
Very,
Brent, I think this was the only one of my priorities probably that didn't get the funding close to what I had allocated, but otherwise, everything else was pretty close.
Excellent.
So,
yeah, and for me, as far as priorities, I'm just looking at the summarized data here. And I think that's the nice part of this exercise is that priorities do kind of tend to rise to the top. And so asking specifically for me is I'm looking at the overall whole from what the council identified as priorities as opposed to, and mine were in there. If we had priorities, you would have scored it higher. So
yeah. I take that back. Big brothers and big sisters would have gotten more.
Haven't got there yet.
You haven't gotten there yet? Are you getting there? Is that yours?
Nope. Well, I would go up on them a little bit too.
Okay. Yeah, they're sitting on 10 right now.
What did we settle on? Sorry, Mayor.
10,000.
10.
Well, I mean back to free medical.
I'm sorry. 10,000.
Okay, 10.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
The Big Brothers and Big Sisters was the only one that I would have liked to have seen more in. Then it was a priority. They do seem to be scoring, or they do seem to be serving a lot of kids, and there's quite a wait list. I think this money that they're asking for was probably pretty well documented.
So we're at 10 now on an ask of 13.6.
Yeah.
Is there in the middle would be what, 12 roughly?
We've got $8,200 to work with total.
I'd say 13.
That was the number I assigned also, 13.
I'm supportive of that.
I'm supportive. I know even staff has volunteered in the past and
Okay.
sang their praises. I'm good.
Okay. That gets us down to 5,250 is left to be allocated. Brent, I really like your idea of priorities out there that are left. Community Crisis Center, we have allocated 13.5. They asked 15. I could go for that.
Yep, because they're going to use that. I
Yep.
mean, just, helping people out. with-
Every penny.
Yep.
Yeah, and our PD uses them.
Yep.
Yep.
Paul, Brian, you okay? Bumping that to 15. All right, we're down to 3,700.
I think Horizon's got full ask. DVIP, they didn't get full, correct?
They did not.
Nope.
They were close. We got them at 95.50.
They were asked 14.
They asked 14.
14.
So,
30, 32 you said left?
I'd be good with upping that.
Yeah, it's just what number?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I'd have anything else that I'd like to support more.
Yeah, I'm looking at mine as well, Mayor, and the scoring, it's clear what the scoring rubric that, priorities came to the top, and then there's a middle tier, and then there's a no, not nows, at least 3 or 4 different buckets.
So
If I bump this to 13,300, that gets us right at $170,000 totally allocated.
Works for me.
Any other projects?
I'm
You
good.
Sorry, I'm just
Yeah, let me
making
just
sure.
Yeah,
double
please do.
checking a few things here.
There's not a clock over your heads that we're all watching.
I will take this opportunity, I don't know that we mentioned it, but to all those that did submit applications, the time and effort and energy that goes into submitting those is not lost on this group. So wanted to say thank you for that, because there is significant amount of work and passion, and it comes through when reading all of the applications. So I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to those folks.
Yeah, well said.
yep, there's 200 pages of applications and stuff this year. And really, just kind of looking at it, my one sense was, boy, people really put a lot of effort this year into these things. So, I mean, there was much more detailed, and really people were working very hard on it. And I think, this, and thank you for staff and Angela for really kind of coming up with the scoring sheet and trying to streamline this a little bit.
Yeah, if you get a chance to drop a line to Angela, that'd be great. She did put a lot of time in this. It made it good for the groups, and it also made it helpful for us as well. Okay, we won't take action tonight, but this is our recommendation. I'll read them out loud for those organizations. And then we will take action on this at our next council meeting in 2 weeks. The 4Cs will allocate 5,000, Big Brothers and Big Sisters 13,000, Community 15,000, DVIP 13,300, Girls on the Run 3,200, Horizons 10,000, Houses into Homes 10,000, Housing Trust Fund of Johnson County, 20,000. Senior Center, 7,500. Sober Living, 1,500. Free Medical Clinic, 10,000. Iowa Legal Aid, 5,000. LEAP, 1,500. The NL Pantry, 28,000. Safe, let me get this right. Safe Families for Children, we'll be getting $1,000. Wish City Shelter, 10,000. Table to Table, 9,000. Trail, 2,000. And United Action for Youth, 5,000. Thank you all for being here tonight and listening to this, and for the time you spent on submitting those applications.
Mayor, before we close out, the one thing that I knew that we would miss this year by not having the applicants speak, I certainly understand why we've gone with this, and I'm supportive moving forward. I think it helps them, it helps us. But they do miss out on the network opportunity. A lot of these agencies partner and work together. But I did see over the last couple of years there was a real network opportunity when council was done in the foyer. All of our social service agencies were talking and working amongst each other, and they learned things about one another that they had not before. So I would just encourage those that applied. This is all public. This is on our website. All of these notes and all of the applications are there. Please, as your agencies, go through and look at who else is doing what in the region and keep that network and those partnerships going. Call one another and work together to leverage the funding that you're getting from us tonight. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you all very much for your time tonight on this. I'm going to move on to item 12, which is Sugar Creek Lane project. And item A is resolution number 2024-82. And this is a resolution approving the purchase of temporary construction easement from Raymat for the Sugar Creek Lane maintenance project. Could I have a motion for consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Wason, seconded by Park. Any questions about this? Stacy, could we have a roll call, please?
Yeah. Smith,
Aye.
Park,
Aye.
Wason,
Aye.
Leibold.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 14 is the CDBG Food Pantry Grant, and item A is resolution number 2024-83, a resolution approving the agreement between the Iowa Economic Development Authority and the City of North Liberty for Community Development Block Grant Funds, COVID-19. Could I have a motion for consideration, please?
So moved.
Moved by Wason,
Second.
seconded by Leibold. Any questions about this? Grant, I'm going to slide this through and not worry about trying to explain it. It seems like everybody's got their questions
Perfectly fine,
answered.
yeah.
Okay.
The blurb does a great job.
Yeah. Stacy, could we have roll call, please?
Park,
Aye.
Leibold,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Wason.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B then is resolution 2024-84, a resolution approving the contract for community development block grant administrative services with East Central Iowa Council of Governments. Could I have a motion for consideration, please?
So moved.
Moved by Smith,
Second.
seconded by Leibold. Any questions about this? Stacy, roll call, please.
Leibold,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Park,
Aye.
Wason.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 15 is Solomon's Landing Part 2 Developers Agreement, and this is item A, resolution number 2024-85, a resolution approving the developers agreement for Solomon's Landing Part 5, North Liberty, Iowa. Could I have a motion for consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Motion moved by Park, seconded by Leibold. Any questions about this?
Looks cool.
Agreed.
Just a note to say thank you to Brandon Pratt for being flexible with all this. It's been terrific to work with.
I noted. Stacy, go roll call, please.
Wason.
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Park,
Aye.
Leibold.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, Brandon. Item 16 is 2024 Strategic Planning and Goal Setting Report. And item A is resolution number 2024-86, a resolution approving the 2024 Strategic Planning and Goal Setting Report prepared by East Central Iowa Council of Governments for the city of North Liberty. Could I have a motion for consideration, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Park, seconded by Wason. Any comments about this? I thought this report was really well done. I'm glad that we took part in this with ECI COG this year. I thought the product was really representative of our conversation. So, any other comments about that?
And I liked the way it was tied in.
Yeah, I thought that was it was well connected. Pardon the pun there for folks reading it.
I think the way they laid out the final report, one, easy to understand. It cut through the fat. It got to the points and priorities, and it shows where our priorities mesh and cross with our regional partners, which I really enjoyed.
So, Stacy, I think we'll take a roll call.
Smith,
Aye.
Park,
Aye.
Wason,
Aye.
Leibold.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 17, the Centennial Center Alcohol Policy, and this is resolution number 2024-87, a resolution approving the Centennial Center Alcohol Policy. Could I have a motion for consideration, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Wason, seconded by Smith. Any questions about this? Well, welcome to the...
I may have gestured for her to come on up. Sorry.
You said there are good notes already, but you're welcome to describe anything that you think was missing from the note or the intent of this.
The only thing is, we just wanted a policy that is flexible, but protects the city, and I think that's what we've got here.
Yeah, it was kind of startling to read the insurance limits and the extra security needed for a caterer. So that was good cover.
Yep. So the only concern that I had was the stop time for selling alcohol was like 15 minutes before closing. So it's just something we'll have to monitor. You just had to pick a time someplace, but
Any other questions? Thanks for coming tonight.
Yep.
All right, Stacy, can we have roll call, please?
Leibold,
Aye.
Park,
Aye.
Wason,
aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Motion carries. And item 18 is A, third consideration and adoption of ordinance number 2024-06, an ordinance amending chapters 45 and 47 of the North Liberty Code of Ordinances regarding the consumption and sale of alcohol in authorized public areas. Could I have a motion for consideration and adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Leibold, seconded by Park. I feel like I missed this entire thing, Brian. You took care of the first two readings of this. Any other questions? All right, Stacy, one last roll call, please.
Park,
Aye.
Leibold,
Aye.
Wason,
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 19 is old business. Anything we've missed, want to rehash? Moving on to item 20 is new business. All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second, Mayor.
Moved by Wason, seconded by Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all. We are adjourned.